Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by asking a question. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Have you ever picked up your phone to do one thing and then found yourself 20 minutes later doing something completely different? Or maybe you misplaced your keys and forgotten an appointment or struggled to finish a task even though you genuinely wanted to. Most people experience these things occasionally. But for millions of adults, these challenges happen every single day. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, approximately 15.5 million adults in the United States reported having a current ADHD diagnosis. As someone who has been diagnosed with this condition, this topic is very personal to me. Throughout my life, there have been times when people have assumed I wasn't paying attention, wasn't trying hard enough, or simply needed to be more organized. What people don't realize is that this disorder is much more than being distracted or forgetful. It's a medical condition that affects how the brain actually functions. Whether you experience it yourself or know someone who has, understanding this disorder is important because it affects millions of people in their everyday lives. Today, I will discuss what this condition is and how it affects the brain, how it affects adults and impacts their daily lives, relationships, and treatment management. What is ADHD? To begin, ADHD stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It's a neurological and developmental disorder that affects attention, impulse control, and executive functioning. According to ADHD researcher Stephen Farone, this condition is categorized by symptoms of inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity that often continue into adulthood. To understand these symptoms and how they occur, it helps to understand what's actually happening in the brain. Researchers believe that the disorder develops from a combination of genetic and environmental factors. Studies have shown that it often runs in families, suggesting genetics play a significant role. Scientists have also identified differences in brain systems involving dopamine, a neurotransmitter that helps regulate motivation, attention, and reward. When dopamine signaling is less efficient, individuals may struggle to stay focused on tasks that are not immediately interesting or rewarding, like that pile of laundry that's been sitting there for 3 weeks. This helps explain why someone may be able to spend hours focused on a hobby that they enjoy, but struggle to find 10 minutes completing a task they find utterly boring. Another example and concept is executive functioning. Executive functions are the mental skills that help us plan, organize, regulate emotions, manage time, and complete tasks. For many adults, the condition may show up in ways people don't immediately recognize. Common symptoms include losing items, losing track of time, being overwhelmed by tasks, or interpreting conversations without really meaning to. Personally, this is one of the aspects I relate to the most. It isn't a lack of intelligence or effort. Sometimes it's simply a different way of processing information and prioritizing tasks. Now that we have an understanding of what the disorder is and how it affects the brain, let's discuss how it affects everyday life. This disorder can significantly affect education, career, relationships, and the overall quality of life. According to research published in the Journal of Attention Disorders, adults living with this condition frequently experience challenges affecting productivity, employment, education, and daily functioning. In school, individuals may struggle to stay focused during lectures, meet deadlines, or keep track of assignments. The condition can also affect relationships. Difficulties with communication, emotional regulation, forgetfulness, and time management can create misunderstandings with family members and friends. For example, forgetting a birthday or arriving late to an event or becoming distracted during a conversation may appear careless to others. However, in many cases, these behaviors are symptoms of the disorder rather than a simple lack of concern. One of the biggest misconceptions that people living with this condition are lazy. In reality, many work extremely hard just to accomplish everyday tasks. Imagine trying to drive somewhere important using a GPS that constantly reroutes itself. You still know where you're trying to go, but the directions keep changing and making it difficult to stay on track. This is often what executive dysfunction feels like. The problem isn't knowing what needs to be done. The problem is consistently organizing and initiating the task. This frustration created by challenges can also affect confidence and self-esteem. Many adults spend years feeling discouraged because they don't know that they need the help and they don't know that they're struggling. Fortunately, effective treatments and support strategies are available. The good news is the condition is highly manageable. According to research published in the South African Journal of Psychiatry, evidence-based treatments include medication, behavioral interventions, psychoeducation, and supportive therapies. Common medications include stimulant medications such as Adderall and Ritalin, also well-known medications that are non-stimulants such as Strattera. These treatments can help improve focus, attention, and impulse control for many individuals. Behavioral therapies can also be very effective as well. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, helps individuals identify unhelpful thought patterns and develop practical coping mechanisms. Many successful entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, healthcare professionals, and business leaders have been diagnosed with ADHD. And while it creates challenges, the right support and strategies can help individuals thrive. As we come to the end of this speech, let's review what we've learned today. We discussed what ADHD is and how it affects the brain and how it influences education, careers, relationships, and everyday life, and explored evidence-based treatments and management strategies that can help adults succeed. This condition is far more than being simply distracted or forgetful. It's a neurological disorder that affects how the brain processes information. Too often, people living with this condition are labeled lazy, careless, or unmotivated when they're actually struggling with executive dysfunction. This disorder is not a lack of intelligence. It's not a lack of effort. It's not a character flaw. I would like to leave you with this thought. When we replace judgment with understanding, assumptions, and with empathy, we create opportunities for people to be recognized not for their struggles, but for their talents, strengths, and potential. The greatest disability in society is not a physical condition. It is the inability to see a person beyond their challenges. Thank you for your time.